Hey everyone, welcome back to Scareproof. Tonight, we bring you chilling true stories. Encounters so terrifying, they'll stay with you long after the video ends. If you're into the paranormal, unexplained events, and moments that send shivers down your spine, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and leave a like to keep the fear flowing straight to your screen. Now, turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare for stories that are anything but fiction.
I work on a cattle ranch in northern Arizona, very close to Navajo territory. One of those places that are completely isolated, where there's no cell signal, and at night, all you hear are coyotes howling in the distance. I won't say the exact name of the ranch, out of respect, but it's about 20 minutes from the nearest town, all dirt road. I'm the caretaker here. I live with my wife and our 2 children. I take care of checking the fences, feeding the cattle, watching over the pastures, and keeping everything in order when the owner is away. My boss isn't just any rancher. He's very reserved, very serious. He knows the land well and treats his animals like they were part of his family. That's why something he told me when I first started caught me off guard. There will be times when you'll have to feed something else. Don't ask. I'll let you know when. I didn't understand what he meant. I thought he was talking about some big coyote or maybe a mountain lion, but over time I realized it was something much stranger. Every once in a while, without warning, a cow shows up dead, but not from coyotes or any regular predator. The body is completely dry, not a single drop of blood. The entrails are perfectly removed, like someone carefully took them out. We've also heard screams at dawn. They sound like dying animals, but when we go check, there's nothing there. Just strange marks near the pens, footprints that look human, but deformed, with claws. The first time it happened, I called the boss immediately. He came as soon as he could. He didn't get scared, didn't seem surprised. He just inspected everything and then told me I knew it was close. Tonight, leave 2 live hens tied at the base of the big tree next to the barn. So I did. I tied them exactly where he said. At midnight, they stopped making noise. By morning, there wasn't a single feather left. Just disturbed soil, like something had taken them carefully. That has happened several times now. Every time we feel that thing is near, I call him. He tells me what to leave, hens, or sometimes a small calf. He always picks one specifically, never 2, never sick, old, or pregnant cows. He always knows exactly what to offer. One time I couldn't hold back my curiosity and asked, "What is it that comes around, boss?" He looked straight at me. Then he said gravely, "A skinwalker, an old one. It already knows us. As long as we give it what it wants, there's no trouble. But if we deny it, it'll come right into the pens." After that, I didn't ask again. Not because I didn't believe, but because I had already seen it. One night, I heard footsteps on the gravel, like someone walking barefoot. I peeked out quietly, and there it was, standing by the water trough, facing away from the pens. Tall, skinny, completely naked. The body looked human, but the head was something else. Elongated, similar to a dog's, but twisted, like it was deformed. I can't explain it clearly. It didn't look at me. It just bent down, took what we had left, and slowly walked off into the desert, without looking back. The boss says that thing protects the area in its own way. That as long as it stays satisfied, it won't mess with people or the cattle. He told me that back when his father owned the ranch, they didn't know about any of this. One time they killed a fox they found in the chicken coop. A few days later, 5 cows were found dead, and one of the workers disappeared without a trace. Since then, his father started the deal. I just do my part. I leave what I'm told to leave. The boss says that if one day it doesn't get what it wants, it'll come to take whatever it chooses. And it doesn't always pick animals. I just want to finish saving the money I owe and get out of here. This is no place to raise kids. There are things human beings witness that simply can't be explained. It happened to me once, during a summer night while I was fishing alone on the riverbank. Everything was still. It must have been around 2:30 in the morning, and the full moon cast a pale but steady light over the water. Suddenly, the silence broke with a loud crack, like a large animal moving through the brush. It came from across the river. At first, I thought it might be a dog, but what I saw didn't resemble any animal I've ever known. The creature had the head of a wolf, but its body was clearly human. It was black, covered in fur, with long claws, and a presence that chilled me to the core. It had something small in its mouth, maybe another animal, I'm not sure. And the most terrifying part was its eyes. They were locked onto me, glowing with the same intensity as the moonlight that lit the scene. I can't even explain the fear I felt. If it hadn't been on the other side of the river, I probably wouldn't be here to tell this. Maybe it was the current that kept me safe. Or maybe I just didn't interest it. That forest is massive, and there's a reason people say you shouldn't go too deep in there. More than a few folks have gone missing, and many claim to have seen the same thing I did. A creature, half man, half wolf. As if something ancient still wanders in the dark. Something forgotten by time, waiting to be seen, but never understood. First of all, I should say that I live alone. I'm not the kind of person who believes in paranormal stuff or those Hollywood-style ghost stories, but something strange happened a few days ago, and I still can't explain it. I was just about to fall asleep when a noise snapped me awake. It wasn't loud, but it was unsettling. I got up to check, and to my surprise, I saw my treadmill was running. The weird part? That machine doesn't even work unless the safety key is attached, and it wasn't. Still, the treadmill was on, moving as if someone had just pressed start. I grabbed my phone and checked the security cameras around the house to make sure no one had broken in. And that's when I saw something that shook me. I went back to my room, grabbed my gun, and searched every room, bathrooms, closets, even the garage. I turned on all the exterior lights and looked out into the backyard. Nothing. No signs of forced entry, no footprints, nothing unusual. But when I went back to review the footage more carefully, I noticed something else. One of the floodlights outside had turned off for a few seconds, and less than a minute later it came back on, right as my second camera picked up movement. In the video, you can clearly see a figure. It looks like a girl in a white dress. Hi, Dante. This is a true story. I used to work for a construction company in the engineering department. The project I was assigned to involved remodeling part of a hospital. Because of the nature of the work, I often had to do overnight shifts. One of those nights, I went to grab a coffee.
The cafeteria was 2 levels below ground, while I worked on the main floor. I remember that when I went down, the hallway was completely dark, gloomy. There were no lights on at all. As usual, I kept my eyes on the floor to avoid tripping on anything. But at one point I looked up, and that's when I saw it. A shadow, shaped exactly like a person, stood at the end of the hallway. I froze. Fear took over, but I tried to stay calm, telling myself it was probably a security guard. And then the worst happened. That shadow screamed. A horrible, piercing scream. So loud, it felt like it tore through the air, almost deafening. I didn't think. I just ran, as fast as I could, straight to the hospital's control room. When I opened the door, I found the security guards inside. They were sitting down, holding Bibles, singing psalms. When they finished, I told them what I'd just seen. One of them, completely calm, looked at me and said, "You saw her. She's the spirit of a woman that appears in this hospital. You're not the first. Several people have seen her and heard her." After that night, I stopped doing overnight shifts. Because there are things the silence of night can't hide. Hi, Dante. I've seen so many things. When I was a little girl, one night while I was sleeping, I felt like someone was watching me. I opened my eyes, turned toward the window, and saw a woman hanging from the tree outside. It was a plum tree. She was wearing a white nightgown, and her long gray hair hung loose. She slowly turned, and I saw her face. Her eyes were bulging, and her tongue was sticking out. Some time later, when I was about 5 years old, we were talking outside near an empty lot across from our house. Right there, among the weeds in front of a dead tree, I saw her again. She was sitting down, brushing her hair in front of a broken piece of mirror. What terrified me was the moment she stopped and looked directly at me. She had no face. I screamed and ran away. Another time I saw an old woman walk down the hallway at my grandmother's house. She often had visitors, so I thought it was just one of the ladies who came to see her. But something about her gave me chills. She turned to look at me, and when I went to see who had arrived, my family told me no one had come. I described the woman to them, and someone said she looked like our neighbor's mother. That woman had taken her own life. She had hanged herself. Over time, I realized it was the same figure I had seen all those times. As a child, I couldn't really remember much. I just knew I was terrified of entering the house after dark. My mom eventually took me to a doctor. They hypnotized me to calm me down, and I forgot everything. Years later, my mom started bringing it up again. When I heard her talk about it, something inside me cracked open. The memories came rushing back. I broke down crying. I was terrified. Now I understand that the faceless woman never really left. She was just waiting for me to remember her. Hi, Dante. Not long ago, I was leaving work late. It was around 8 p.m. As I was crossing the pedestrian bridge near the main road, I noticed a woman walking ahead of me with a little girl. The girl kept turning around to look behind her, like she was watching something, or someone. As we reached the ramp on the other side, the woman suddenly stopped, turned to me, and started speaking with obvious frustration. I pulled out my earbuds, a bit confused, and asked what was wrong. "Why are you talking to my daughter?" she asked, clearly upset. Even more confused, I told her I hadn't said a word. Then the little girl chimed in, pointing behind me. "No, Mom, not him, the man in red." I looked down at my shirt. It was blue. I turned around to see who was behind me. There was no one. No one walking up the bridge. No one nearby. Just darkness and silence. The woman, now visibly uncomfortable, told her daughter to stop making things up and kept walking down the ramp. I stood there for a moment, frozen, a weird pressure in my chest. Finally, I kept walking. As I reached the bottom of the bridge, I saw them again. The girl was still looking back, right where the man in red was supposed to be. Then she whispered, almost too quiet to hear, "He's still there. He's still talking to me." Ever since that night, every time I cross that bridge, I can't help but look over my shoulder, just in case. If you're still here, thanks for surviving another night with us. Remember to subscribe to Scareproof. Hit that bell so you never miss the next terrifying story. And leave a comment telling us what's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you. Because here, fear is always just one story away. Until next time, sleep with one eye open.